So my love, I'll finally share with you my main tarot deck that I use to work with the Crone energy. Now I have here in the channel one video where I share my experience, like how the Crone showed up in my life, and another video where I share tarot and oracle decks that I like to use to work with this energy. And when I was creating that video, this deck didn't want to show up for that video, right? I was still working with her personally. We were getting to know each other. It is a deck that I only use in my personal practice as well. I don't work with this deck with others, not yet. We've been working like this to understand, to connect, to dive deep into the Crone energy for months now. And I'm ready, and first of all, I'm ready to talk about it, and of course, the most important, she wants to come here and be showed. She wants me to talk about our relationship now. So I was looking for a tarot deck to work with the Crone energy, and I saw many decks not many decks, that's not correct, but I saw a few decks and they were like out of print or this or that. But none of them were like, I was not feeling that click, with none of them. And this deck here that I'm going to talk about, you would never imagine this one, guys. It is the Goddess of Love Tarot. I know. That's why I'm here to share with you why, right? Like, why, Rachel, why? So this deck, here I have the guidebook, and the image in the box is exactly the same. And I like to go every week to my local bookstore. I like to go there, even though I don't buy, but I like to walk around, see decks, and see the books that they have there. And for a whole year, every week I would get there. And I think it was, I'm not very good with timing. Maybe it was not a year, but for several weeks I would get there and I would see this box with this image, and I would be like, oh, that's gorgeous, and then I would go and grab the box, then I would turn it, I would see this artwork, and I was like, no, it's not for me, because I was not that much into collage decks back then, right? Okay, so after a while, I started liking and loving the collage decks, and then I decided to go ahead and buy this deck here at my local bookstore. Now, that's something that's totally not me. Usually when I'm going to buy a deck, I read reviews, I watch videos about the deck, I like to see all the cards. But something happened with this deck that I don't know, I just didn't watch any review, I didn't read anything about this deck, and I decided to buy it. And once I bought this deck and I started reading the guidebook, I totally understood why that happened, because it's totally not aligned with what I think, how I live spirituality and other subjects. So it was not really, just not aligned at all with me. So if I knew that before, I would probably not buy this deck. But as you know, as we are going to talk about today, this deck had to come to my collection, right? So, reading this guidebook, I was like, it's not for me. But I never felt like, oh, so the deck's not for me. So, the guidebook, the author is Gabrielle Herstick, and the artworks by another person. It is Julia Popesco. So, I was here and I would never feel like this deck should go. Like, oh, it doesn't belong to my collection. No. I really enjoyed this deck since the beginning, even the cardstock. I know that maybe it's not the favorite for a lot of people, but I really enjoy the cardstock. And let me show you here. Compared to a traditional Rider-Waite, let's see. It's slightly larger, can you see? Here's my Rider-Waite, Universal Rider-Waite, US Games deck. Traditional tarot size, so it is a slightly larger, right? And you were there, I was there, working with her. I would draw from this deck, but something was still off. Not only that, our experience together was crazy because this deck was so mean. But by me, I mean so mean, because I have some decks. We talk about those decks here. That they really punch me in the face, they kick my ass and this and that, and that's great. No, that was not the case at all. She was actually mean, almost nasty. I was like, why do you treat me like that? Like, what's going on here? But I never like, oh, I dislike her, nothing like that. But I was like, what's going on? So lots of cards that I cannot show you because they show the bodies, right? Unfortunately, I cannot show you because they're beautiful. And I couldn't understand what was going on with this deck. I would draw some cards, like the Queen of Pentacles would come all the time. Look how gorgeous it is, the Nine of Pentacles. And I couldn't understand what was going on. Like the readings, they were very harsh. So I was like, what's going on? And after a while, for some reason, and that's what happens, we don't know why. It's something that I cannot force. It's not like, oh, I decided that I'm going to understand this deck now. No. Some decks, it's just like they click. I open the deck and the first card that I pull is like, whoa. And some decks like this one and others, I think I have here a review for the Beautiful Creatures Tarot. Same story. Different, but same story, meaning only after a while that I could connect with that deck. But that deck was even more years. But this one here, months. Look, the Emperor. And something just clicked. It's not something intentional. It just happens. One day I was here, looking at her, working with her, and I cannot explain how that comes, you know, like that's just intuition speaking. It was like, I was like, oh, so you are the tarot deck that I'm going to use to connect with the Crone energy. And I was like, my rational mind was like, no, it makes no sense. This is a deck created for Venus and Aphrodite and so on. And I was like, what? How's that? Okay, I'll do it. And I started working with her to connect with the Crone energy. Oh, my dear, you have no idea. I have goosebumps as I talk to you, because the most amazing readings started happening. They were so deep and so meaningful and so coming from that voice inside, the wise one. Because for me, the Crone, she's about the wise one. Because the wisdom that comes with the Crone is not knowledge. It's not something that is mental. It's not something that is intellectual. It's about something that we lived. And that's what is important for me, is my goal, because I was always a very intellectual person. I always loved studying. I still do. But at one moment in my life, in my 30s, I was like, you want to know, I want to be a wise woman. I want to be more than or intelligent or smart or stuff like that. I want to be simply wise. And that's what I started opening up myself for. Way before I even started working consciously with the Crone. And that's what happens with the archetypes, right? They just show up. It's not something that I'm going to, I will activate. Of course, we have synchronicities and this and that, but they show up in a way when we are least expecting. And that's how the Crone usually is going to show up in our lives. Maybe it's a video. For me, it was a video that I watched and something inside me. I'm explaining in another video here. You should go there and check that out if you're interested in this subject. But you want to know something that sometimes I think about when I'm working with the Crone, reading about the Crone experience and so on. Sometimes I start reading sometimes I read some tales and things like that, right? With the Crone. And you never see the Crone having a relationship with another person, meaning a partner, you know, a man or a woman, doesn't matter, but I never seen that. So I started questioning that a little bit. It is almost like, look at this world, look at this. It's something like almost we don't have that part of ourselves anymore when we reach a certain age. And I totally disagree, because for me, this sensual part, this fire, this red here, it's much more than, I have to be careful with the words here, unfortunately, but I hope you understand, the ass practice, stuff like that. No, it is about this feminine part of being attractive as well, of being attracted as well, of still having that part of us that it's feminine, and it is, it's hard to find a word when you cannot say the specific word, but sensual, I'm going to use this term. It's not about a practice itself, but it is about being seen, being admired, and allowing that part of ourselves. And for me, it's connected with our beauty as well. The way we see ourselves is still beautiful, as attractive, you know, beautiful and attractive. I'll just use those words here. And so I think that's why this deck was, okay, the Empress is my soul card. Look at this. It is the box here, the same image. It's Aphrodite, right? And for some reason, that's what happened to me. So she decided to show up in my life to be my main channel, my main tool to work with the Crone energy. And she's so wise, and she's so beautiful, and she's bold, and she dares. You know, it's not about like, all faces of the Crone are beautiful, but this one's very bold, very, you know, the one that I've seen. I mean, my mom was one of those, but you know that those old women who apply that red lipstick and they don't mind, and they go out and they speak up. That's who this deck is for me. So this is the face. This is a card that has been showing up a lot for me as well. This is a deck that has allowing me to work with the Crone energy as I experience that energy. And of course, I don't know, with the time, maybe I'll have other decks that are going to show up to represent other faces, I don't know. But for me, this is so the deck, like wise, feminine, bold, fearless. Because that's an important aspect for me of embracing the Crone in our lives at any age, and as we age as well, because wisdom is about setting our boundaries. It's about speaking up for ourselves or what we believe. I believe that that's a responsibility that we should have as we age. It's not something just like, oh, I'm aging, I'm going to just retire and watch some TV. No. I mean, of course, we can do and we should do that. I love that as well. I love the idea of resting and stuff like that. But for me, it feels like I don't want to just to get older. I want to get wiser as I age, because being old doesn't equal being wise. I think all of us, we know that very well at this point, right? Completely doesn't. That's something, the desire, because the desire creates vessels in our lives, so the desire to be wise must show up. And for me, embracing, this is actually it's the King of Pentacles that showed up a lot for me. And this is an aspect of the Crone that I really live, experience, and I love to have in my life. Now, about the court cards, we are going to have the pages, they are maidens. The knights, they are witches. The queens, they are queens. And the kings, they are crones. That's it. I love this deck. I don't like pip cards and stuff like that. It's not my thing. These ones a little bit pip cards, but it's so powerful. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. And I was so excited to come here and share about this deck with you and our experience together, because I really, really wish everybody can find their deck to work with the Crone energy, because it is potent. Oh, important to mention. So, as I told you, this guidebook doesn't speak with me at all, doesn't align with me. So, I created a personal guidebook for this deck. That's important to do, because there are many decks that we are not going to connect with the guidebook, or maybe a deck that doesn't even have a guidebook. It's important to practice creating our own guidebook, and I love doing that. It's important for me, and if it feels like when we create, of course we're not going to do that with every single deck, we don't have time for that, but every time I do that with a deck, I create my own guidebook, our relationship becomes so deep, so wide and deep, and it feels like we are in a symbiosis, you know? And I'm planning to probably, still didn't do that, but I'll probably choose this card here, or even the world as well, I love. Probably I'll put here. Let me try to find. Let's see if I'll find it. But probably I'm going to add the void, which is the Fool, and the world here. Probably, let me show you how it will look like. I'm going to print these cards. Look, I need to probably be the cover for this guidebook, right? Beautiful, wonderful, amazing. I'm so happy to share about this deck with you. Let me know what decks you like to use to work with the Crone energy, and what you think about it. Do you think I'm crazy, or everything that I shared here made sense for you? Did it make some sense for you? Just let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for being here. Sending you lots of love, my dear one. See you soon in the next one. Bye bye.